let's return to personal finance basics in relation to Bitcoin. Or rather, Bitcoin returns us to personal finance basics. Bitcoin, despite its appearance as a technological marvel, as an evolution of the internet, which is itself a revolution in human history. There is a sense in which Bitcoin actually is very ancient. There is a sense in which Bitcoin returns us to first principles. It forces us or compels us or even invites us to return to some of the values and principles that perhaps have been lost in the fiat world and in the fiat paradigm dominated by the fiat mindset. Bitcoin has this really funny way of changing our behavior. And that's what I want to discuss in this video. So, first of all, I think if you're getting into Bitcoin, and whether you have an established position already or you're just starting from scratch, it's really important that you budget your money. You have to maintain a budget. Okay? There's this tendency in the quote-unquote crypto space with all the dog coins and all the alts and all the hype. There's a tendency to just to FOMO. There's a tendency to run fast and loose with money. There's a tendency to use leverage, sometimes irresponsible levels of leverage. But the truth is that all you need to do is have a budget that you operate from and ensure that you produce a surplus every month. Okay? This is key. You need to have a steady stream of surplus income that you can direct towards Bitcoin. You need to steadily dollar cost average into Bitcoin over a period of, well, basically forever. The sooner the better. The sooner you start doing this, the more Bitcoin in absolute terms that you will accumulate, because the fiat price is really, in the long run, going only in one direction. Why does Bitcoin in particular push us towards having running a balanced budget with a surplus? Well, there's a few reasons for this. One is that you cannot play games with Bitcoin. Either you own it or you don't. Either you produced surplus value in a given month, in a given period of your budget. Either there's surplus value that you were able to convert into Bitcoin, or there wasn't. And if there was not a surplus, then that month goes by and you have not increased your total sats. Then that's kind of that's not a good feeling. You'll find when you get into Bitcoin, when you really understand that you are saving with Bitcoin, that if you have a month or a period of your budget where you're not able to increase your total sat count, it's not a good feeling. It feels like you're standing still. Of particular note is how this contrasts to the altcoin world and the shitcoin casino, because me personally, I found that when I held altcoins, that I held them with the mentality that they were a lottery ticket. So I would convert in one lump sum. I would convert some capital into altcoins, into a particular altcoin, and I would just hold that amount and not add anything to it and just wait and hope that it moons. Basically, the exact same as holding a lottery ticket in my hand and just hoping, looking at the numbers as they're called, hoping, oh, I hope I score, I hope I hit this one out of the park. But there was never, with any altcoin that I ever owned, there was never the mentality of wanting to gradually increase my total position diligently, just dollar cost averaging blindly. There was never a sense in which I wanted to save, right? It was always just, okay, I'm going to put this lump sum into this altcoin or whatever, and let's see if it goes up. Bitcoin is different. The mentality is different. There's a sense in which if I'm not to some degree increasing my total sat count, then I feel like I am falling behind. With Bitcoin, there's not a lottery ticket type behavior, and this is really healthy. This is very healthy for your personal financial situation. This is very healthy to have this mentality. This is the mentality of a saver, not a gambler, a saver, not a speculator. This is how Bitcoin, when you adopt it as your personal savings vehicle, as basically as your personal treasury reserve asset, there's a sense in which you're not gambling anymore. Now you're saving, and that's going to transform how you run your budget. Right? The two aspects feed into each other. Your budget allows you to accumulate more Bitcoin, but your Bitcoin as a savings vehicle, Bitcoin as an asset, it has this effect upon you in which it reinforces that you run a tight budget, that you ensure that there's a surplus. Again, with altcoins, the gambling mentality, when you're holding a lottery ticket, you're not really worried about inflows and outflows on a monthly basis, because you're sitting on what you think is a lottery ticket. And if you strike it big and you 100x your lotto ticket, then your budget doesn't really matter. So the gambling mentality, the lottery ticket mentality, reinforces poor personal financial management. There's a very key distinction there. There's a very key behavioral difference between saving with Bitcoin and gambling with alts. And hey, maybe there's some people out there who do diligently dollar cost average into altcoins, or who knows, maybe there's some people that really do feel like they're saving with a dog coin. But that's not what I see. That is not the behavior that I see from people that hold these types of quote-unquote cryptos. It's no one is using crypto to save. People are using crypto to gamble, except for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only digital asset that I see a mentality of a mentality of stacking sats. That mentality alone is strictly a Bitcoin phenomenon. It's not just a phenomenon. The whole meme of stacking sats is it's the philosophy of Bitcoin. People who are into Bitcoin understand stacking sats. They understand saving. They understand dollar cost averaging. People that are into Bitcoin really are using it as a treasury reserve asset. They are not, on a whole, this is not what I observe. They are not using Bitcoin as a lottery ticket. There's a key difference here. There's a reason why we call Bitcoin Bitcoin and everything else altcoins, or if you prefer the term shitcoins. There's a bifurcation there that clearly there's a distinction between Bitcoin and everything else, because everything else is essentially, in my view, treated as a lottery ticket and does not improve a person's personal management of their finance, their financial situation. Bitcoin, I have personally observed that Bitcoin transforms people's approach to saving. It returns people to the first principles of running a balanced budget, diligently ensuring that there's a surplus of income, that inflows exceed outflows. These are basic principles. These are not just basic financial principles. We're talking about the principles of thermodynamics here. Any system that has more outflows and inflows is going to collapse. If you are running fast and loose with your budget, holding on to your dog coin lottery ticket, hoping that it saves you from your own irresponsibility, this isn't going to end well. You go watch all the hype videos from any of these shitcoins, and you tell me that these people are running balanced budgets, have high levels of fiscal responsibility, that are diligently saving. No, what these people have done is gone all in. They've pushed chips into the middle of a casino table, and they're just betting. This is going to end well, or this is going to end very, very badly. Very badly for a lot of people. And the people who are going to survive are the ones that just were humble and simple and diligent. They just dollar cost averaged into Bitcoin over the long term. They saved, they scrimped, they ran tight budgets. These are the people that in the long run are going to significantly and measurably improve their personal financial situation. These are the people who are going to achieve financial independence. And how is financial independence defined? It is when your savings has grown to such a degree that you are no longer dependent upon a job to generate income, to support yourself. And I believe that those who are diligently saving in Bitcoin eventually are very likely, if you're doing it right now, you're very likely to achieve personal financial independence. It's just a matter of how long that will take. If you're a little late to the game and you're only able to stack, you're on a tight budget, you're going to be doing this for years, a decade. You know, this you're in this for the long run. This is not a lottery ticket. If you are just getting into Bitcoin now, recognize that for the next decade, at a minimum, you are going to have to run a tight budget. You're going to have to ensure that you have a nice surplus income at the end of every month that you can throw into sats, convert into sats, and you're going to have to do this diligently for years. This is, with Bitcoin, you are not just throwing $1,000 into it and waiting for the lottery ticket to pay off. That's not how this works. This is going to require discipline. It's going to require sacrifice and austerity. And these are healthy personal financial disciplines and habits to cultivate. Bitcoin encourages this type of behavior. It's not just that Bitcoin goes up and the holders of it increase their net worth. It's that Bitcoin motivates and modifies people's behavior to, on a net basis, improve their situation. Not just in terms of number go up for Bitcoin, but people spend less on things they don't need. People look for ways to improve their income. They look for alternative streams of income. I have agreed for this winter to operate a friend's snowplow, with a pickup truck, just to earn an extra $50 every time there's a snowstorm. Guess what? I'm gonna have to get up at 5 in the morning to do that before my main job starts. That's gonna be tough, and it's gonna be cold. But you know what? That $50 that I earn just from plowing some snow every snowstorm, that is going straight into Bitcoin. I'm converting that immediately into sats. And the reason why I am agreeing to do that side job, that little side hustle, the only reason is because I want to increase my sats. You know what? If it was just $50 that I was earning, I wouldn't agree to do that little side hustle. Because it just wouldn't, I wouldn't be motivated to get out of bed in the morning, 4:45 in the morning, and drag myself out into a cold vehicle and do all this. I wouldn't be motivated to do it for $50 fiat. But I am for the ability to have a little extra income to convert into sats. This is what I'm talking about. Bitcoin changes people's behavior. It encourages and incentivizes excellent personal financial habits. This is why Bitcoin is different. You don't see this with other assets or other cryptos or whatever. Bitcoin, you do see this. And why? Why? Because, in my opinion, those who are stacking sats, they have recognized what Bitcoin is. It's real money. And this is how people behave when they have real money. Real money, hard money, transforms the behavior of everyone in the economy. Now, we are early, so everyone in the economy, even though everyone has access, at least in the West, to Bitcoin, not everyone is aware of what it is, and therefore we don't see this transformation. But for those who are aware, we do see it. And to the extent that Bitcoin onboards millions of people more, and the growth of Bitcoin holders and users increases exponentially, that is to the extent that we will see improvements in the general population, less consumption, less waste, more saving. This is what happens when people have access to hard money. When people have access to a money that is so fixed, so static, that every time that you increase your sat count, that you have permanently increased your total ownership, the percentage ownership of Bitcoin in absolute terms. Like that will never change. So you see what I'm saying here is, because the supply is guaranteed to never inflate above 21 million, every time that you save even $10 and convert it into sats, you have measurably increased your total percentage ownership of Bitcoin. And no one can ever take that away from you or change that fact. It's a mathematical certainty. It's a mathematical. It's not a subjective. It's an objective fact. You have increased your total ownership of the most finite supply of an object ever. This is the most finite object ever discovered, and you have increased your total ownership of it forever, as long as you do not sell any. As long as that sat count stays where it is, or you increase it, you are forever locked into having improved your total ownership of Bitcoin's supply. And that is what transforms people's behavior. That is what makes people reevaluate everything